I'm ready whenever you are.
Declining college rates by Gracie, Gianni, Owen, Jake, and Isaac. Our research question is, how has going to college and obtaining a four-year degree become less desirable in recent years?
So some background. Over the past few years, college enrollment has declined in America. According to the article, Fast Facts Enrollment by the National Center for Education Statistics, which is an American group that collects data about the education system in America, college enrollment has declined 15% from the fall of 2010 to the fall of 2022, as only 15.4 million students nationwide have enrolled. There's the roots behind this decline can be seen through many different lenses. The first lens is economic. According to an article titled "How Much Does College Cost During the Pandemic" by Affordable Colleges Online, which is a guide to the affordability of colleges in America, it states that college tuition is rising. This can be seen closer in an article written by Melanie Hansen titled "College Tuition Inflation," as by the Education Data Initiative, which is an initiative that also collects data about the education system in America, as she states that college tuition has increased 9.24% from 2010 to 2022. With this increase in tuition leads to more student loan debt. Hansen states that for the average student to obtain a bachelor's degree, they take out over $32,000 in student loan debt. This high amount of student loan debt can lead people to be interested in career pathways that do not include college to avoid the student loan debt.
Through a socialist perspective, which means students that are joining frats and sororities are taking time and effort away from their education. This could put students in danger and potentially harm. Taking social events out and listening them could save more money for colleges. Social events such as sports events and parties. This is provided by Susan Snyder, which is a writer that supports and covers topics about hazing, alcohol, and illegal substances. This lens shows that students that put more focus into partying and alcohol more than their education. This is happening more than you think. An example of a tragic death occurred in Penn State when a student jumped off of an 8-story building, which caused his death. The police found that hazing, alcohol, and illegal substances all occurred during the time of his death. Hazing is a form of bullying caused by when a student is forced to do an activity which they do not want to do.
College tuition rates are also on a decline due to the highly politicized climate and culture surrounding higher education in colleges. Many Americans think that college has become a politicized issue. A study at James Madison University found that 65% of college professors among 3 polled universities had liberal-leaning viewpoints. Republicans think that college has become too political, which is supported by that statistic. However, politics does have a place in the classroom when done so properly. That's called a democracy, which is what America is. Politics and education, though, exist outside the classroom as well. There were 2 Supreme Court cases in the recent term that were involved with politics and education. The first is Biden v. Nebraska, which ruled that Biden's student loan forgiveness plan was unconstitutional, which was a large platform that Biden ran on, was promising many people forgiveness of their student loans. That was according to the Department of Education. The Department of Justice also found that the second case, Students for Fair Admissions Incorporated versus Harvard College and University of North Carolina, prevented affirmative action and admissions based solely on race, created political division, and only further in the politicized climate surrounding education. Some people are scared about stating their beliefs at colleges. Samantha Hernandez of Education Writers Association writes that sizable portions of students have concerns about stating their political beliefs. If nothing's done, students will continue to be scared away from college because of politicization.
Next, for the ethical lens, one of the main reasons for the decline in college enrollment was very high tuition rates. So ethically, high college tuition rates affect lower income families and different groups of people. So high college tuition lower obviously the enrollment, and according to the Commonwealth Times, which is an news article for Virginia, lower income families are only able to afford 1 to 5% of colleges, and they also have a shorter travel radius of where they're able to go, so they're not able to have as high access to college. This is showing college is unattainable for everyone.
And this is especially important when you consider the future of America. So the entire point of college as a whole is to expand the economy and make it more diverse and of more educated individuals. So when there are all these economic, ethical, social, and political problems, you begin to wonder, how will that be done? And especially when certain solutions such as the Biden-Harris administration being shot down for a lot of their opportunities to give out student loans, we need to come up with different types of solutions.
Starting off with our first solution would be limiting colleges' ability to raise tuition costs. This would be putting a nationwide cap on tuition.
The pros of this solution are that it leads to cheaper college costs, which ultimately lead to increased enrollment rates. A tuition cap would provide underprivileged and minority groups more opportunities to attend colleges. Higher enrollment rates help colleges bring in more money because although there's fewer people paying higher rates, there's more people paying lower rates that'll altogether add up to be more money for the university. The cons, however, is that colleges would have differing opinions. Colleges don't get enough funding for academics as is, so why would they want less money? Lower money equals lower profits, which colleges are ran like a business nowadays. Less money in means less money is spent on education and academics. This includes lower salaries for professors, fewer resources, and less extracurricular funds that might draw people into really wanting to attend a university or college.
For implications, higher enrollment rates, so then that would put more diverse groups of people into college. So according to the Nationwide Clearinghouse, undergraduate enrollment rates dropped 8% from 2019 to 2020. So if we're lowering the tuition cost, this is going to put more people in college, leading to more people are getting a 4-year degree, and then that gives them jobs and then helping in the long run, honestly, just economics and like the workforce. And also, if we're cutting the tuition, lower quality of education, less funding is going to go into the education portion of college. And then limitations, colleges would not support tuition caps. Obviously, it's going to cut back on the money that they're getting for academics wise, so they're not going to support it. And extracurricular activities would be cut from school funding, so different clubs, organizations, sporting, all of that's going to be cut, and there would be less money going into it.
And then the second solution we have prepared is prioritizing the educational benefits of college. This just means to allocate the money in a way that goes towards the bigger problems of college and actually helping the students learn.
The pros for this would be lowers costs. This lowers costs for college students to attend universities, which would result in less debt for parents and students, which could potentially take years to pay off. Also increases safety. This increases safety by lessening social events, which could save students and protect students from harm. The cons for this would be eliminating college experience. This lessens the college experience by having less social events, and it could decrease the amount of social skills that college students have. Another con is lessens extracurricular activities, which means college couldn't support the fundings to pay for sports, the places to play, the gear, paying coaches, or even outside attractions for outsiders.
Okay, so the limitations is the selection. So we need to know what to cut out of the budget, so what can be made room for other aspects. And then the other is the student social life. So if you cut out all these extra social activities, obviously the student social life is going to suffer. And maybe some people might not even want to go to college anymore because they were going there for that in the first place. But the implications are the college expenses. The college expenses would go way down as they would get rid of a lot of extracurriculars and provide lower tuition costs for others. And then this will also decrease debt because not only are you spending less money on the implications, on the college expenses, you also have to consider that they will make more money in their field if they are given more education.
So in conclusion, declining rates of college enrollment in America will continue until something is done. When you take into consideration the college tuition and how high it is nowadays, and the student loan debt that comes with that, along with the politicization of classrooms and the dangers of social life and hazing in college, it's easy to see why some people, and over the last few years, there's been an increase in students that have found interest in other career pathways that do not include college. And until these problems are fixed, this decline will continue.
Thank you for listening.
All right, good job. Okay, so let's look at your oral defense questions. Gracie, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Jake's findings.
So Jake talks about in his paper basically the economic standpoint of college. So he found a ton of information on like student loan debt in the long run. And I know there was a statistic in there that there's like $1.7 billion in like nationwide of like college debt, which like surpasses like credit card debt and everything, which is putting students in a very bad financial position after college. So this changed our thinking of how our solutions on cutting tuition costs, because if students are going into college coming out with thousands of dollars of debt, it's putting them in a bad situation in the future. So it really affected how college rates can increase by cutting tuition costs.
All right. Owen, describe an argument from one of your peers' individual reports that made you think differently about the team's resolution or conclusion.
Yeah. So originally, my paper was about like the politicization among like inside the classrooms and stuff, and Jake's paper was about economics, which I feel like was a big part in our solution. And so as we were kind of forming our solution, I kind of felt like my paper was an oddball out, because the only financial stuff that we really talked about was Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, which was to forgive X amount of dollars from the $1.7 billion of student debt. So Jake's paper kind of helped me, when forming our solutions, realize that a tuition cap was probably necessary, because this would ultimately lower that debt. It wouldn't keep compacting onto more and more debt. And I don't know. It just...
Jake, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from the presentation, and why?
In Owen's paper, he talked about how there was a difference between the enrollment in colleges between like males and females, and that there was more females being enrolled in college than males. And we decided to include that because our main question was like what factors have caused people to have less interest in going to get a four-year degree, and with those factors being the high tuition rates leading to the student loan debt, the social hazing and social dangers Gianni talked about, and the politicization of classrooms that Owen talked about. It really, like, the gender of the person enrolling in college does not matter in that, because it's not going to fix the solution just because of that. And until something is done about those solutions, it's not going to matter whether it's a boy or a girl enrolling in college, because the solutions as a whole are affecting everybody in America.
All right. Gianni, how did the group decide to include Gracie's perspective, lens, or conclusion into your overall presentation?
Gracie's paper more was about how to get cheaper college costs, and this would just help our overall presentation because of our solutions. Having cheaper college costs would help students overcome debt, and parents could take years to pay off. As I said, it was $1.7 billion to overcome, so it would just overall save everybody's money and time.
Okay. And Isaac, if you had another team member, what other perspective or limitations could they have researched that would have made a useful contribution to the project?
Yeah, so we definitely would have chosen the educational lens of this topic, because we wanted to know what teachers were teaching in class and how that affected people outside of school. So like once you go through school and you are taught something, you have to go into the real world and you have to get money based off of what you pretty much are taught. And if they're not being taught correctly, they're not going to be able to pay off their tuition in the future.
All right. Good job. Thank you, guys.